person for a guy like me. And your eyes are shiny like you don't see. I wish you could be mine for eternity. Could you please be mine? Hey, you trapped my soul, you broke my law. I think you're fake, cause you stole my heart, trapped my soul like a superstar, a superstar, cause you person for a guy like me. And your eyes are shiny like you don't see. I wish you could be mine for eternity. Could you please be mine? Hey, you trapped my soul, you broke my law. I think you're fake, cause you stole my heart, trapped my soul like a superstar, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star. You're the perfect person for a guy like me. And I know for sure that we are meant to be. If your heart is locked there, I may have a key. Could you please be mine? Hey, you trapped my soul, you broke my law. I think you're fake, cause you stole my heart, trapped my soul like a superstar, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star.
Oh, guys, I had everything set up for this stream, so I did, and oh wait, there, I need to mute myself. Yeah, I had everything set up for the stream, just to go smoothly from Rebel's stream into mine. As soon as I started streaming, everything started hitching, and then just completely came to a halt, dead. So my computer just needed to be restarted really quickly. Thankfully, I just very recently reinstalled Windows on an SSD, so it did not take me long. Alright. Let's see if yep, everything's popped up. Sorry, Lorax isn't streaming today. You're stuck with me. So the stream will be a lot less structured and professional. Alright, so I should probably get the music started. Oh yeah, that's right. I had iTunes ready and open, but I need to open that up again. We're starting off with that's from our soundtrack, the Skyblivion soundtrack, which this is the track called The Gold Coast, which is definitely one of my favorites. So enjoy this while we start. So during this stream, I got a little place sorted out. For those of you that don't know, I'm D Keys. I do the landscaping for Blackwood. And Blackwood, if any of you remember, well, to be honest, Blackwood was probably the least memorable of the regions in Oblivion, due to the fact that it was, quite boring. It didn't really feel too much like a swamp, and that was definitely the direction we were going in for Blackwood in Skyblivion, which was to completely flatten the area. It was very hilly before. It was to completely flatten the area and just flood it, make it look like a really hostile, creepy marsh. And 2 years later, it's only just started to look this way. Need to wait for everything to load in. Alright. The area we're working on is very close to here. This is the Iliad ruin, a Tatar, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is an Iliad ruin I recently worked on in a stream. Might have been my last stream I worked on. Basically, I went about making it look like this Iliad dam here had just started to spring a leak. Just kind of give the sense of, nature, especially in Blackwood, is starting to reclaim even the ancient ruins. So, just these couple of cells here. Because this here, if you see these grid lines, these are cells, what we call them. And our regions are completely filled with hundreds of them, and we all need to get every single one of them done. So, as you can see, these four cells are probably what we'll be working on today. I have some ideas for it, and yeah, even just 4 cells is massive enough. So hopefully we'll get some work done today. I want to make a nice path leading up to this Iliad well. Am I from Northern Ireland? I am. I'm from Belfast. And it's particularly warm in Belfast, so I think that might have been the contributing reasons for my computer dying. Poor thing is just boiling to death. That's right, 1,000 more subs until the Rebels East channel hits 100,000. And I gotta tell you, that recent trailer has definitely helped. We are very happy to have you with us, Shirley. Cannot wait to watch you roleplay in Skyblivion. Because you are hands down, Shirley, the best role player I've seen in Skyrim. Whenever I watch other people recording Skyrim, they play it like a player, and they don't get into their character's mindset, which that's what role playing's all about. Alright, so we're gonna add some water here. Game dev takes 30 minutes to get a cell just right. A lot longer than that. A lot longer than 30 minutes for one cell. I'll just give you an idea. Like here, that's like there's one cell. You can see like it's these squares here. If I just zoom out, you'll just see how many, you know, the world could possibly consist of. Look at that. That's definitely in the thousands. Definitely in the thousands. I wonder which team will finish first, beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil or Skyblivion. We definitely don't care about who finishes first, because we're all helping each other out. We share assets a lot, and it's definitely not competitive. Quite the opposite. It's cooperative. Do you think Bethesda will ever do a remake of Oblivion? If they were ever thinking about it, I would imagine their employees seen our recent trailer and says, no point. I suppose it makes sense. With Skyblivion, they are selling 2 games again, Skyrim Special Edition and Oblivion, for those who haven't bought either of them. Not asking for a release date or anything of that nature, but is there some place I can go to check the progress of this? Discord. If you guys want, to be kept up to date nearly every day on this project, Discord is the best place for it. Our Discord has an update channel. We go there a lot. We're all too happy to post new stuff there. I sound like Inspector Chester Campbell. I have no idea who that is. Maybe I do. They've made it more clear they're interested in doing new games. If I were Bethesda, I wouldn't remake Oblivion either, especially if there's a team already doing it pretty well. I watched some trailer for Skywind Mon, and I'm going to like this Skyblivion much better. It's probably maybe our land. Because if you look at Morrowind, which is where Skywind is set, it's very hostile looking. But our mod's set in Cyrodiil, which is below Skyrim. It's a lot more pleasant looking. Looks like somewhere you might go for a holiday. How long will the stream last? I never really put a clock on it, but usually it goes over maybe 2-3 hours, maybe. How does the process of working together over long distance work out? Let's say 2 people work on landscaping. How do you get everyone on the same page? The lead, by having a lead for each department helps. It certainly does help. And Kyle Rebizes keeps us he does sort of meetings with us every once in a while just to keep us on the right track. Right now, I'm just placing the water for everything, just to see what it looks like so far. So how deep is the water when it's like a flat building block? Well, it's a volume, so it's as deep as the landscape beneath it is. Let's just say if, like, because we're in terms of work rate, in terms of volunteer numbers, we are at like an all-time high. Especially especially motivation as well. So let's just say if it keeps up at this rate, a 2020 release isn't out of the picture. You can tell how careful I am not to just say yes, but it's very possible for 2020. If like Kyle said, anything could go wrong though, you know? How do you reference the game, the original game, while landscaping? Well, for Blackwood was an area you don't really need to reference too much, or don't need to take too much inspiration from, because it was an area that was definitely very forgettable and definitely lacked some character. That's a good question. Can I ask, as a developer, when you play the game, is it less exciting because you worked on it behind the scenes, or is it still exciting? It's actually a good question. Normally it is. Normally you feel like you're spoiling for yourself. Whenever I'm in game and I'm running around just checking out the area that I've worked on. Sometimes the other brain shutting down already. Sometimes the other landscapers will walk around the other areas that their fellow landscapers have worked on. So just out of curiosity to see what it looks like. I try to do that as little as possible unless, you know, I'm asked to. Because I just don't want to spoil it for myself. But in terms of working on your own area, you tend to be more judgmental and you can't really see it through the eyes of a player. You're seeing it through the eyes of a developer, and sometimes that doesn't help. Sometimes you really do need to see it through someone else's eyes. That's why getting, you know, your guys' opinions when you see it is always a good thing. But I will say very recently Blackwood, or rather up until recently, Blackwood has just looked like a place that has just needed a lot of work. See the place I'm working on? Look at it, it's like completely blank, more or less. This is just because this is one of the last areas. If I scroll up here, you see that ship and that bridge? This river marks my finished area, as in once I finish up here. And all across here. Blackwood's first and second pass will have been completed. Because I kind of do first pass and second pass at the same time. And once that's done, it will be the fine details, and then from there on, that's an entire new region. That's an entire region finished. But, yeah, as I was saying, a lot of the time Blackwood was looking very incomplete, and it was kind of annoying me after a while. Until it just seemed to get to this point. Maybe it was whenever I got the new trees. Something just clicked. It just started looking good to me. It started looking like a finished product. It started looking like something I could be proud of after a while. It's kind of hard to put into words. But I was almost able to start seeing it through the eyes of a player, which I didn't think was possible. I might need to make a waterfall here. What is your current rig while you're developing this game? It's been about 2 years, so some things have gotten upgraded. Will Skyblivion be compatible with Frostfall? It'll need to be patched. The thing with Frostfall is, well, I don't know if Frostfall would be very challenging in Cyrodiil, since Cyrodiil is a lot warmer. You're definitely not going to be you're not going to find many areas to, you know, freeze to death. Do you make any of the models or just replace them as a landscaper? No, that's usually the 3D guys. We wait for new trees to come in, new rocks to come in, and then we replace the old Oblivion assets with the new stuff. See, doing these little walkways go up ever so gradually. They're so finicky to do. Oh, it's all right. I need to figure out this water. How does it feel to be certified gangsters? I'm still waiting on my certification in the mail. First I thought you were going to adopt the original map, but you rebuilt it like from scratch with its own landscapes. No, not exactly. At first we did port the original map and everything over exactly like it was in Oblivion. My area, on the other hand, pretty much got completely scrapped and redone from the ground up. I'm not Rebelsies, I'm just using this channel to do a landscaping live stream for Skyblivion. But yeah, I'm D Keys and I am from Belfast. Will Skyblivion be available on Steam like Enderall? It won't, but we will actually get our own Nexus page. And that's not like a Nexus category in Skyrim. That's an actual Nexus game page. Originally, weren't you going to use the original armor and weapon models, or was that just placeholding? A lot of our older videos, I mean really older ones, yeah, they use the old weapons and stuff, but they were just placeholders. That was way early on. It's insane sometimes, because sometimes I look at our old videos and I'm stunned at how far we've come. I remember when Rebel first asked me to flatten Blackwood, because I mean it wasn't a very simple, easy thing to ask. It's flatten an entire region. It's insane. I remember saying, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I remember I went to the very southernmost part of Blackwood. I just still remember just taking a deep breath and going, alright, let's get started. And I just, from that moment on, it's turned into what it has. If you've seen one of the videos on my channel showing off the gas explosions in Blackwood, you can see just the type of the many different like sub-regions Blackwood will have. So not only will Blackwood be its own region, it will have like sub-regions inside it. It'll have the burnt forest, it'll have sort of the dead trees, and it will have the big bald cypress trees as well. So you started with a flat blank canvas, then Then I just started putting water everywhere, and then raising areas out, and then it started. I had to keep the roads intact, so the roads, the shape the main roads are in Oblivion, is the same shape they are in Skyblivion, and the roads kind of showed me where I could not go. There are areas of the road which are, I can show you actually. If I take it over here. Alright, so this is one of the main roads. This leads down to the other side of Leowin. But as you can see here, it eventually became overflooded. And a bridge needed to be made, but the bridge was made, you know, quite quickly and not with the best materials. So as you can see, it's caused an accident. When it comes to the console version of Skyblivion, we wouldn't even be able to try and make it. It just we wouldn't be able to. We just couldn't port it. It wouldn't work. It needs, well, for starters, it needs Skyrim script extender, which the consoles don't support at all. So essentially what you're seeing, what I'm doing here, the way I just place water down and then decide where like a lake goes, where a pond goes, where a puddle goes. That's essentially what I did with the entire region. Just on a much larger scale. Jesus, the scale. So say if I take this little tiny island here, I'll take it from just looking like that to looking somewhat complete. Alright, so I'll just first I'd like to put down like the rocks as a base. That's lately what I've been doing. Put down this the rock texture as a base. Then take this sort of muck, apply it in. This is actually one of my favorite materials in the game because it just looks you know soaking wet. It looks like if you walk on it you would slip or just get your boots wet at least. All right, then next. It's kind of good. You're just applying some things in layers. Will the white gold tower be fully explorable to the top? No, we're not gonna add in some things that would be actually, you know, that wouldn't be too bad of an idea. We're not gonna put too much on our plate. A lot of what we've been doing is just making sure we get the base game done. We're not looking to add too much into the game. Hey man, will there be Russian localization? If anything, then I'm Russian. That depends. Was there Russian localization in Oblivion? Basically, if there was a localization of the game of Oblivion, the original game, then we can take those assets over as well. Alright, just darken these rocks. I don't always see, what I do is I sometimes like to use the landscape materials to hint to the player, you know, maybe where is the best place to approach something from. So, you see, I put the rocks around here, but the muck still goes to the edge of the water here. It's kind of a... I mean, there's no real reason. There's nothing stopping from coming on it from the other end, but I just like to do that because it kind of hints towards that the rocks have been, you know, cleared or stomped into the ground from other people walking that way. And instead, what I can do is I can make the other areas around it deeper. Because one of the big aspects of Blackwood is I want to make the waters dangerous. So while you might think the majority of the water in Blackwood is just, you know, knee height, you're not actually going to need to swim in it. It will feature a lot of slaughterfish, so you will be getting your ankles bit off you just by going into these small shallow waters. So sometimes if I hint to you where's the best, most shallowest part to go from one little island to another, you know, kind of helps. But the key is for me to say it through the world, not to put a big sign on it and say go here. Alright, so a lot of, like, even just little islands like this, a lot of things I do is just put a little island, tree, rock, and then some grass or ferns. Will Skyblivion eventually have a semi-custom UI like Skywind? We actually did have a working UI for the Legendary Edition of Skyrim, but since we've ported over the Special Edition, we've those assets didn't get ported. I don't think it'll be too hard for us to do that. So yeah, it'll have... Our HUD looked a lot like Oblivion's. Alright. What's your experience with modding / game development? I think I first started modding with Morrowind. Yeah, first time I ever used, back then it was called the construction set. That was what you used to use for Morrowind and Oblivion. It wasn't until Skyrim it was renamed to the Creation Kit. Or rather, it was in Fallout 3, I think it was called the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. Then it was just called the Creation Kit for all of their Creation Engine games. So I haven't actually made that many mods, it's mostly been landscaping. I think my first mod was, I turned Dive Rock Cave, or rather Dive Rock into a cave up in the mountains. Maybe that's a mod I'll revisit when Skyblivion releases. So for now, I'm just placing these ferns down rather than actually using grass. As you can tell, there's no grass around here except for these areas. Currently in our area, the grass is a little bit temperamental. Sometimes it covers too much of an area, and it's a little hard to work around it. So I tend to just erase it all. And as well as that, our grasses are still being worked on. We're still using the old grasses, and they don't look good. So. Yeah, this creation isn't really that old. No, not really. It's been updated over time, so it has since Morrowind. I love watching you make that little island. I know it's making these small little islands. It is kind of therapeutic and peaceful. I like to think I'm getting good at them. I wonder what else this little island could do with. For now, I'll just make this mist invisible because it's kind of hard to work around. Another thing a landscaper needs to know is the flora that his area usually hosts. So if I delete like a load of like these things, for instance, they're called green stain cupped mushrooms. If I delete a load of these, I might be affecting the game's balance. A little hidden something on it for explorers like me. I have placed many hidden somethings across the swamp. I'm wondering. I know. I've done this a lot in other areas, so it's not like I'm spoiling anything for it. Let's see what I can get use. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of hiding because I know how good Shirley is at finding stuff. So I'll show you how I like to hide things. Let's see if I go to the container tab. This is where you'll find the like all the different types of chests and stuff. All right. trying to decide which. Just want to check what's in it. Alright. Just something small. Okay, so chances are, like I said, this will be like a little road here. This part sticking out of the water, so the player will see the island from this direction. If I were to just place the chest here, you know, it's a little bit too visible, you know? So if I were to just place it here instead, or rather, like, a little bit in the ground, you know, that in of itself is not really fair because that's a little too well hidden, you know. So, because then the player would see nothing and see no reason to come over here. But if I were to go over to the item tab. And add this shovel. Just, I don't know, just maybe. There you go. That's that. You're just gonna see that shovel standing there and you're gonna be like, okay, someone's put that there, it's buried something. Maybe look around a little bit. Make it someone's skooma stash. The only reason I didn't put a skooma chest down there is because my swamp is binging. Or what's the term? It's brimmed to the top, is that the term? There's too much skooma chests in my swamp. I actually had to, like, cut back on them because there's hundreds of caches of skooma across the swamp. Will Skyblivion be released on Steam like Enderall? Sadly not. It will have its own Nexus page, though. I love the new Ebony set for Skyblivion. It's gorgeous. Alright. Those are the old chests, by the way. Our new chests will hopefully be will have their own like opening animations and stuff, so it'll look a lot better. Sometimes I like to make, like, while this entire area is, you know, in progress, I like to make a little area that might look somewhat finished, just to, you know, just to add something to work towards. If I ever find that shovel while playing, I'll think of this stream and my troubled septons card gambling addiction. What? Skyblivion on Nexus. I dread the thought of downloading this whole thing at 1 megabits per second. That's actually something I'm not too sure we've thought too much of. We'll be hosting Skyblivion download-wise, I think, on Nexus and our website. I don't think any of us have thought about what the hell is going to happen when we like release. Like, our website is going to crash hard. Which I realize is going to be terrible because you're going to have us finally saying those words, like, on that day that this mod releases. And people will be so happy and coming, only realizing they're getting a 404. You know, it'll be chaotic. I really hope we've got some good servers. We're gonna need it, because you guys are gonna blow our servers up again. Why not use a torrent? A torrent, yeah. A torrent very well might be a good way for us to host the game's download. I'm sure we'll provide a number of different ways for you to download, just so it puts less of a strain on everywhere hosting it. Well, Skyrim Special Edition and normal Skyrim have different lighting. We're still unsure about the progress or the status of Skyrim Legendary Edition's release. Since we've now changed to Special Edition, we're a little unsure at the current time. We don't know what will be backwards compatible or not. Maybe something stuck out of water. Oh yeah. If I use here, let's see. Sometimes use those there, the cattails coming out of the water. But those are usually things I do later on. Because working with grass can be a nightmare in this engine sometimes. I hope there's more underwater caves than original Oblivion. I can't speak for the other guys, but I at least have found some opportunity to hide some things underwater. Obviously, since my area deals with it a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of hidden things, and I don't mean like maybe just like a chest or something. Like an entire area. I think this isn't even technically possible on consoles. It's not really technically possible since this uses a Skyrim script extender. You know, there would need to be a way. And I just don't see, maybe Bethesda doing that for us. Need to be a way that your console could use Skyrim script extender. I don't know how it would, since it's like an executable. enjoying my path with it here a little bit, actually. So another thing that helps me map out areas is just by doing a lot of little paths. As many little areas explorable as possible. Can we have a thing like the release date thing on the screen, but for console releases not happening? If I were to do that for like every question we constantly get, the entire screen would be filled with answers. I just realized, yeah, it's a tough one. I might have to use rocks. Let's see. I just realized there's a window you guys can't see on the creation engine because of the way I have this set up. But if it looks like I'm doing nothing, it's because I'm playing about with another window that I didn't add to OBS. Let's see. Nope, not that one. Oh yeah, this track you're listening to is actually from the Northerner Diaries. It's an album composed by Jeremy Soule, which, if you don't know, he composed the original Oblivion. And another fun fact about Jeremy Soule, this is one of my favorite facts about Jeremy Soule. After Morrowind was released and everything like that, Jeremy Soule was actually in a very serious car accident, which almost killed him, I think. And his like new lease on life, his new inspiration for how great life could be, was what inspired Oblivion's soundtrack. So, you know, when you listen to Oblivion's soundtrack, you hear his, you know, his love of life. And I think that's why a lot of us loved Oblivion, because we heard that. And do you want to know? Do you want to know when I usually realize what to do with an area? It's not when I'm sitting at the computer with the creation engine open, where I can easily just jump in and, you know, fix that place I've been struggling to know what to do with. It's when I'm lying in bed at like 5 in the morning trying to get to sleep and my brain's like, I know what to do with that area. I'm like, oh god, no. I don't have a pen and paper beside my bed, so I gotta like get up and like either like do it then, or I have to, you know, trust myself to remember. I never do remember though. Last time I played Oblivion was not very long ago. I've been replaying it. I think a number of the developers for Skyblivion are kind of maybe always in a state of playing Oblivion, just to make sure, you know, we don't lose sight of what it is we're remaking. Will there be differences between Colovians and Imperials? I mean, I take it you mean the Colovians and the Nibonese. I don't know if we're gonna trouble ourselves too much with finding ways. If there's easy enough ways for us to make that distinction, we will. But we don't want to put too much work on our plate. Lord knows we have enough on our plate already. Will you be adding any secret dev secrets? If you mean Easter eggs, yes, we will. Plenty. You know, what's the first thing you think about when you think of a swamp? That's correct. It's Luke Skywalker's crashed X-Wing, you know. Go out into Blackwood and find Luke Skywalker's crashed X-Wing. I will give you a prize. Spoiler alert, there isn't one. I pitched the idea, nothing more, saying it would be cool if we did this, but no one on the team in their right mind, rightfully so, would spend all day making an X-Wing just for me to hide it in a swamp. It would be stupid anyway. Will the Lefebvre Bros be characters? I really want them to. I know the exact perfect quest that the Lefebvre Bros could revoice, and it's that quest where there's a twin brother in Coral and there's a twin brother in Cheydinhall, and you have to reunite them. And I think you have to clear their family farm of ogres. I can't think of a better quest for them to redub for that, because, you know, it's brothers. Emmett would obviously play the drunk brother. How much of the Blackwood area have you gone over to this extent? What extent? I'm at the very top. Yeah, I'm at the very top of my claim right now, which means I've gotten a lot of Blackwood finished, or not finished, but in terms of first and second pass, finished. Alright, I have to go all the way over here because I can't remember the name of a certain asset. There we are. What are you called? Creek. Called Creek. Can't make this too big, so I can't. How big would Shivering Isles be compared to, say, Skyrim? It's been a while since I've actually played Shivering Isles, but I'm pretty sure Skyrim is still bigger than Shivering Isles. I'm trying to think what maybe the size in comparison Shivering Isles may be to, say, Solstheim, but I think Shivering Isles might be a little bit bigger than Solstheim. Maybe Solstheim's bigger than Shivering Isles. Ugh, I thought we got rid of all these ugly rocks. I personally can't wait to get stuck in Shivering Isles. Alright. Shame you guys. We're allowed to use the original soundtrack for Skyblivion. As long as you have Oblivion installed, when you're installing Skyblivion, we'll be able to take the files from your Oblivion install and use the music files. Same with the audio files, rather the voice files. So don't worry, Oblivion's original soundtrack will be in it. Is the Blackwood area going to be larger than in Oblivion? Well, we're working with a 1x1 Cyrodiil. So Cyrodiil in this is the same size as Cyrodiil in Oblivion. So Blackwood will still be the same. It will be... It'll just be different. A lot better looking. Can I show you the Imperial City? Not much of the... I think only one district of the Imperial City has had some work done on it. Whenever I'm gonna finish this stream, I'll do a walk around for you guys. I'll walk around the areas that are a lot more complete, so I will. As long as you have a legal copy of Oblivion, you should be safe with this. Be able to use it. Alright, now it just comes to blend these two together. Might have to end up going with a smaller waterfall. A lot of people always seem to ask us, should they wait for Skyblivion or should they play Oblivion as it is now? I always recommend you play Oblivion now. At least that way you get to see how far it's come when you finally do play Skyblivion. I'm playing Beyond Skyrim Bruma right now. I played Beyond Skyrim Bruma not too long ago there. It's funny, despite Beyond Skyrim Bruma and our project both being set within the same province, they're both two completely different looking areas. To answer your question, look at the bottom left. Are the stream assets old? They're from Skyrim. We're allowed to use Skyrim assets, but not Oblivion's. Oblivion, if you ever played it, there was like the very occasional tiny little waterfall, but you never had those big flowing streams that you had in Skyrim. So that's one thing these assets have let us have. Will there be DLC support as in Shivering Isles? Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna release this mod as it is on its own, like just Oblivion, and then at a later date we're gonna announce, you know, Knights of the Nine's release, and then we're gonna announce Shivering Isles afterwards. I think that's the way we're doing it. In terms of the what do you call it? Yeah, I think that's the way we're doing it because Shivering Isles will take a little bit of time to release. Simply because it requires us having to do landscaping again and asset creation again. Whereas Knights of the Nine didn't add too much in terms of like new worlds or anything like that. It was just some new dungeons, new armors and stuff like that. It was mostly quests. So I think what will happen is we're gonna have after Oblivion, we're gonna have a bunch of the team break up and start on Shivering Isles, and then we're gonna have another part of the team working on Knights of the Nine. And Knights of the Nine will essentially, I'm pretty sure it will get released afterwards, and then the rest of that team will break off and help the other team work on Shivering Isles. What region do you think looks the best so far? Thing is, I haven't actually went and looked at too many regions simply because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But I think one of the most amazing looking areas is the Gold Coast. The area Anvil's in looks absolutely stunning with the pardon me, with the beaches and the cliffs and stuff, which is landscaped by Cliff J, which a lot of people know him as the Bob Ross of the Creation Kit. Like if you've ever watched me or Lorax's streams and think we're good, you should watch Clef J's streams. He doesn't stream as often anymore, but when he does, it's a treat to watch. They're amazing to watch. With the small DLCs, we might be able to get the small DLCs released during... The small DLCs might be released with the big initial release. I'm not too sure about that yet. Can you add a chest as a program to contain any Creation Club items that we bought, or is it impossible to program? I mean, if you own certain items in the Creation Club, you could possibly add them in through console commands. At a rock there. Whoops. Just need to close that little gap there. to you too. Yeah, this is the music from the Harry Potter games, which was also composed by Jeremy Soule. Turns out when you find an amazing composer and you look at his history of work, you find out that he's composed a crap ton of kick-ass games. Second. Alright, I think I might switch over to something maybe a little bit more upbeat. Why did you log me out of Spotify? Have you guys finished the opening part of the game? Where we're not really working on it that way. Is it often difficult to try and simulate the look of Oblivion's style of landscape while using Skyrim's assets like this? Yes. Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of Skyrim's assets are very rocky in terms of terrain. I certainly myself try to not use as many, because one of the things is we don't want to remind players of Skyrim while playing this. We want the players to feel like they're in a completely new province, which they are. Alright, how the hell do I pull this water off? Do you have multiple people working on this? Then you do a merge. Yeah, that's the way we do it. We all work a good bit away from each other. There's some spaces in between our claims, so that's just to avoid us accidentally messing over someone's work. It was the merging process that actually made it necessary for us to switch over to the special edition, because we must have been the first guys to ever do it. We hit the limit of their engine, the reference limit. Skyrim Legendary's reference limit was hit by all of our landscaping, and we had no idea how to fix it other than, you know, switching the engines. How many are you working on this in total? The entire game? I think maybe around 50 now. When you ever have big problems like that, do you ever get direct support from Bethesda? Oh my god, we wish. There. If we could come to Bethesda with some of our problems, we have a lot of them. You know, in terms of working with this engine, yeah. It's probably best Bethesda not give us their direct line because we would not stop bothering them. By the way, yes, this is floating. I'm gonna, you know, fix it later on. Or, well, I'm gonna fix it as I landscape around it. When do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will release? I think it's a good bit away. It's probably looking at 2023, 2024, I think. God, this area looks so awful at the minute. Probably not next year, since definitely no, 100% not next year. Since Cyberpunk 2077 seems to be the biggest competitor. Yeah, it's I think the case with Cyberpunk 2077, it's a lot like a Rockstar game. Now, Rockstar doesn't release games very often since they work on those games for so long. Obviously, it tells. But whenever it comes to Rockstar releasing a game, whether it's a Red Dead Redemption game or a Grand Theft Auto game, generally the thing every other company does is stay the fuck away from Rockstar's release dates, because your game will get buried. So it's kind of gotten that way for the Cyberpunk, or for a CD Projekt game. You do not release when CD Projekt are releasing their game, because your game will get buried. Will the unofficial patches for Skyrim and Oblivion affect Skyblivion? An entirely new unofficial patch will need to be made for Skyblivion. Is there anything I'm really excited to build? Believe it or not, I know it sounds like... I know it sounds probably to you guys, I must be sick and tired of working in a swamp. I've been working in a swamp for over 2 years now. But believe it or not, I'm actually looking forward to working on the swamp in Shivering Isles. Because I realized with Shivering Isles, it's supposed to be the realm of madness. So that means I can get pretty damn weird with my landscaping. It's like... It's amazing the amount of stuff you could probably get away with landscaping in the realm of madness. Whoops, did I leave a floating rock? No, that was on purpose. You've just gone mad. You're seeing floating rocks. It's not because a landscaper was lazy. By the way, just to, yeah, that's right, 2 years in the swamp. I've been working on this, I've been working on Blackwood since February 2017. No, wait. Wait a minute. Was it February 2016? Oh, shit. Fuck. Alright. I guess time flies then. Fuck. God damn it. Shit, was it really 2016? If you guys like this music, it's the Far Cry Blood Dragon soundtrack. But yeah, no, I think yeah, it's been 2016. Wait, is that? I suck at maths, by the way, so I can't add things up. I've been on the project. Shit, wait there, I actually wrote it down because I'm an idiot. I need to write things down. Yeah, no, yeah. It was February 2017. I've been on this project since. So, yeah, 2 years. Over 2 years. Three and a half years for one area. I think we've all gone a little mad during the production of this mod, and so going to Shivering Isles, we're going to feel all right at home. But to be honest, the thing, a lot of you might be wondering, like, if it took them this long to get the base game out, like, how long are we going to have to wait for Shivering Isles? And the answer is you're really not going to have to wait that long, because you think about it, once we release this base game as it is, we'll have mostly everything sorted in terms of the coding. We will have quests sorted out, so that means we'll have the tools already finished to port Shivering Isles quests to Skyrim's new engine. So the quests won't be a problem. It'll just be, you know, waiting on the new landscapes being done, waiting on the new armors being made, and we've actually already, you know, done some. For instance, Dawnfang and Duskfang. You've seen that in our recent trailer. We worked on the Amber armor a long time ago. You've seen there's a video series on how we made the new Gatekeeper. And plus, like, there's been what, like 5 landscapers, like around 4 or 5 active landscapers have made this entire province, as you see it, has redone this entire province. You're gonna have the same amount of landscapers, if not more, working on a very, very small island. We're gonna get it done in no time. Is Skyblivion also making Skywind? That's another team, completely separate team. Do you have help from other amateur developers with Blackwood? Landscaping wise, no. There's only one landscaper per region. That way it's easier to manage, so it is. The landscapers have all thought about ways we can add ourselves into the game. My suggestion is each of our NPCs will be a sort of... There'll be a way of telling the player about the region. I mean, obviously, right, if I were to add my NPC to the game, it wouldn't be me talking as myself saying, oh, this is Blackwood, it took me 2 years to make this, because you don't want to be thrown out of the immersion of it. So we would add, you know... I thought about maybe making my NPC like a hermit that had lived in Blackwood for a long, long time, and each NPC that the landscaper would probably voice would tell you something about the area in their own character. Longer than that. Alright, everything disappeared, and I'm not exactly sure why. I hit a button, and Yeah. Why do I work on Skyblivion? Very important question. Because I love Oblivion, and I just to get that chance to work on one of your favorite games. It's definitely something you'd never want to turn down, especially when you know how to. Was all that water supposed to disappear? It wasn't. I've actually no idea why I did that. I hit a button that I've hit a million times before that never did that before, and it did it. You're just getting introduced to the various bugs that exist in the creation kit. If you think Bethesda's games are buggy, trust me, their tools are buggy. Way, way buggier. That moment you realize you have to go through Oblivion gates again. Hopefully they'll be a lot less tedious, because after I finish working on Blackwood, I'll go to I'll be working on the Oblivion realms. Each landscaper is going to do around maybe 5 Oblivion realms. So that might add up to around, over 20 Oblivion realms. If you want that visualized, Oblivion had 8 realms that had to be spread out among 100 possible open gates. So if you're wondering why in Oblivion you had to close gates that you'd closed before, or rather you'd been in a realm that you'd seen before, it's because you probably had been. How many hours per day do you work or develop with Blackwood? When I can get to work on it, I like to do around maybe 4, 5. Problem is, sometimes you get those days where you just hit a blank wall, you just don't know what to do with the area. And it's really hard to try and figure out, because sometimes looking at a blank canvas, you have no idea where to start. Sometimes you want the canvas to inspire you, but it's a blank canvas, you're supposed to kind of inspire it. Is the magic in Skyblivion going to be stunted like it was in Skyrim? The magic in Skyblivion is actually going to be better than it was in Oblivion and Skyrim, if you think about it. So, we're changing how magic works. We're going to... Obviously, since you're not the Dragonborn in Oblivion, you won't have shouts in the game, but we're going to use the shout mechanics as a replacement for the magic. So that means you can have a sword and shield equipped and magic equipped like it was in Oblivion. So, left click for sword, right click for other sword or shield, and then the shout button for the spell. Or you could have a spell in the right hand, spell in the left hand, and a spell set as your quick cast. So you can equip 3 spells in Skyblivion. So if you ask me, we've done it both better than Skyrim and Skyblivion, or rather Skyrim and Oblivion. Alright, let's raise this area up. Will Skyblivion support mods for Oblivion? We're not exactly sure how we would possibly do it. Chances are the original mod makers for those Oblivion mods will have to do some sort of patch. So how does the spell mechanic work? Is it literally like shouts, or are there animations? Does it have a cooldown like shouts? Same UI bar at the top? No, we're gonna have it do the... Hopefully we're gonna have it do the same, like actual casting animation. So we will. We're not gonna have it use a cooldown effect. It'll just, you know, it'll eat into your magicka bar like the other spells would. Will 100% chameleon still be a thing? I'm not sure if it was like that in Skyrim. If it was, because I remember it being like you could totally take advantage of it. I'm not too sure if it'll be like that, but it'll be probably most likely like Skyrim's was. Did I finish that already? God damn. Alright. I didn't know that soundtrack was so short. Yeah, we won't actually, there won't be any shouts in, you know, Skyblivion, simply because you're not the Dragonborn, but, you know, if you really did want them added in, you could just use the console commands. Well, trust me, Elder Scrolls 6 will not be out before us. Most underrated game soundtrack? I doubt it. I think that it's very appropriately rated. Will visual mods also work on Skyblivion? It depends on which visual mods you mean. Like in terms of, you're talking about like an EMB, like 4K texture packs. Not really, since we're introducing our own texture. Like for instance, texture replacers won't work because they'll only replace the textures from Skyrim, where we've brought in new textures. We haven't replaced, we've added, so they won't really work now. People will need to make texture packs for Skyblivion. When did this project start? 2012, 2013? A lot of people think the project started, like, well, it technically did. This project started a good while ago, maybe like 2012, 2013, but you gotta understand, at that point it was like a bunch of guys just kind of playing around saying, like, let's see if we can add the world of Cyrodiil, or the world of Oblivion, into Skyrim's engine. I don't think they really intended it to go anywhere other than just a technical demo. But over time, the project picked up. If you want to properly know how long this has been in development, I mean like proper like, development, it's only been like maybe 3 years since it's been in like serious development with a big enough team. Because before that, it was just sort of like testing things out, getting things set up, and so it's not really. It hasn't been this case of, oh, we've been working the way you see me working on this mod now. We haven't been working on it like that for 7 or 5 years. It's only been like that for the last like 3 years. And if you ask me, the amount we've done in like 3 years is insane. But yeah, it's only been properly 3 years development. So how does that little bit of water not get drained down? Shouldn't the water be pulled down into the ground? Well, you gotta remember, this area we're in, it's a swamp area. There's a lot of rainfall, so there's a lot of tiny areas getting filled with sort of tiny basins getting turned into ponds that don't get so not every like little body of water needs to have a source. Well, the source is usually the clouds. Yep, we'll be working on the expansions later, at a later date. How often do you guys make backups of the project just in case something unforeseen were to happen? Well, if you think about it, well, at least the majority of all people on the team has their own version of Skyblivion downloaded. So if one of us lost everything, then all of their work would be on someone else's computer, and we merge quite often. Have you seen the Skyrim playthrough that came out recently? The game is... oh yeah, it looks amazing. Landscaping team are amazing for that project as well. It is a Belfast accent to hear. Surprised how many people are noticing it. Can you guys redo the Daedric armor? I never really liked its look. Oh yeah, we're redoing the Daedric armor. Thing is, despite a lot of us on the team loving Oblivion, we do know how to criticize it. We do know the important things to criticize. If that were the case, we wouldn't be remaking the landscapes. We wouldn't be remaking the armor and stuff like that. We can see where everything needs touched up here and there. The gear braking system? If you mean weapons and armor degradation, we are going to implement that, but when you're installing Skyblivion, that will be an optional thing. When you're installing Skyblivion, there will be a number of things that'll come up asking for optional things. If any of you have ever installed, mods that have those little optional things that let you, tick a box if you have a certain mod to apply a patch, our mod will have that as well. This is the track Ashes from the God of War soundtrack, for any of you wondering. So are you or are you not the new improved version of Bethesda? No, because Bethesda get paid for their work and we don't. So I still don't know exactly what Skyblivion is supposed to be. Alright. We are bringing the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion into Skyrim's engine as a free mod, though the mod will require you to own Oblivion and all of its DLC, as well as Skyrim and all of its DLC, specifically Special Edition. Does that sound like it's a practice line? Because I tell you, it certainly is. A very well practiced line. Uh-huh. So how did you learn to do this? I have been modding. I've been using the I'll just call them like Bethesda's editing tools for now, because they've had two different names since Morrowind. I remember building like a little village with the construction set that came with Morrowind. So I've been using this thing for a while. Blackwood is the closest I could ever get to being in Black Marsh. Yeah, it is, and I've made sure that you feel like you're almost in Black Marsh. If that's actually what the that's what our re-landscaping has all been about. If you look at Cyrodiil on a map, it's surrounded by so many provinces. It's surrounded by Hammerfell, Skyrim, Morrowind, Black Marsh, Valenwood, Elsewhere. So what we basically decided was the borders of Cyrodiil's map are all going to have a little taste of what the other provinces have. So my area, Blackwood, is going to look what you would imagine Black Marsh to look like. Obviously the Geralt Mountains are what Skyrim kind of looks like. The border to Hammerfell, they're going to be all highlands. So they're going to be all, you know, kind of like the rocky grasslands. Anvil, it gets towards a warmer climate, so it gets a bit more sandy. It's one of the reasons why it's called the Gold Coast. Will Sky... That's the one I get a lot. Will Skyblivion be playable in Skyrim VR? I think it might be if Skyrim Special Edition mods work with Skyrim VR, then this should be no difference. I'm unsure. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure they've made a Skyrim script extender for Skyrim VR. I'm not sure. Skyblivion will be very easily moddable with the creation kit. You just launch the creation kit like normal. Load Skyblivion's load Skyblivion's ESM. That should be it. I don't know how awkward Enderalls was to mod. What's your favorite Skyrim mod? Wow. There's so many. Oh my god, I just recently played the Forgotten City. If you've never gotten the mod Forgotten City for Skyrim, it is a 100% recommendation. The mod, it's the only mod to ever win a Writers Guild Award. It won an Australian Writers Guild Award. One of the best mods I've ever played. Will we be able to play Skyrim and Skyblivion on the same save? Unfortunately not. You will not be able to. I heard that Skyblivion has its own custom EMB preset. Is that true? It is not true. If you've ever looked at our work and seen how amazing it looks, that's all without an EMB. This is the God of War soundtrack, by the way. And I love it. Wouldn't Skyrim and Oblivion graphics be better? No. Why would it be? Which one am I more hyped for, Skyblivion or Skywind? Well, of course, I'm biased, so it's Skyblivion. I'm really excited just to see the big, you know, Skyrim. Brain is shutting down. The big Skyrim YouTubers doing it. I'd love to watch Gopher playing this. I think one of my favorite reaction videos to our trailer was Gopher's, because he just sounded so excited, and he understood something that a lot of other people don't really understand, which was how fast this project is moving. Because when you're working on projects like this, one of the things you constantly see people saying is these projects never get done, this project won't get done. And when you're someone working on the inside, you can't speak for other projects, you can only speak for the one you're working on, but you know, speaking for this project, seeing on the inside, you would understand just how fast we're going, how much acceleration we have, and how much we have worked on it. You would see that there's no way this won't get done. And seeing Gopher's video, it just felt amazing to see someone else, someone who was a fan, someone who wasn't on the team, seeing that same amount of dedication and, you know, hype. Alright, there's an asset I need to get. But I can't remember the name of it. I just have to wait like a million years for every object to load in, because I've just loaded into a new cell. There it is. Alright. This bridge is made up of like a million pieces, so it's just a million pieces need to be What are you called? Just in case you don't. Stockade wall walkway. Alright, remember that. In case I forget. Stockade wall walkway. Huh. What to do with you? Black Marsh is skimping on road maintenance. Oh god, yeah. Like my aim for Black Marsh is to kind of give the impression that the Imperial Legion does not want to go there, because this is supposed to be almost like a sharing similar landscape to Black Marsh, so it's going to be just as treacherous. I understand, like, there's the thing people always love to quote, or they always love to say, because there's apparently this lore that says the Oblivion Crisis in Black Marsh was extremely unsuccessful because of how treacherous Black Marsh is. It got to the point where Black Marsh ended up invading Oblivion. It ended up just not going well for them. And I love that idea. I'm not actually sure if that's true or not, but I love that idea so much that I got one of my ideas for an Oblivion realm for it. So I think it's near Fort Blueblood. There will be an Oblivion Gate that's situated in a lake. As in, the lake will be up to about knee height, maybe ankle height, in water. And I wanted to make it where once the player goes through there, you'll see the water that was in that lake flowing into that Oblivion realm. So that you'll go through that Oblivion Gate and you'll be walking down like a stream that'll eventually get to like the lava and cause like a massive steam effect. I don't want these to be as deep. Let's see. Music. Do I use Elder Scrolls Online for reference? I don't actually have Elder Scrolls Online. I probably should get it, because I know Blackwood is in it. Or not Blackwood, Black Marsh is in it, so I haven't actually, not actually too sure what it looks like in that. Oh. What are the short keys to move objects around? I don't really use short keys to move the objects around. I just I click on it and you can left click and scroll or left click and pan. When is this mod gonna be released? The answer is in the bottom left. Right. Will this use Oblivion's official soundtrack or something new? It will use both. It will use Oblivion's original soundtrack plus some new stuff we've added in. Kind of having these two like on either side of each other. One's staying up alright, but still drowning in the water, while this one's sort of tipped over a little bit. You can use the music, but not the voices. We can use the voices as well. Alright. It's not bad for an area that is essentially just all dedicated to a simple Iliad well. Although I suppose it is very close to that Iliad ruin there, a Tatar. A Tatar? That's a really weird name. Never really know how to pronounce it. Will it be on PS4? Sadly not. Oh my god. Both my knees on my back are currently breaking. Do you have Oblivion open on the side when you do this? No, I do this all from, I don't... people ask, do we do it from reference or do we do it from memory? It's really neither. We just kind of... We have it in our heads of what we're making. I'm making a swamp, so I make a swamp. What are some ways non-tech savvy people can support the game? Just sharing, you know, telling people about the project, especially people that could potentially help out eventually. Right, this leads up to a statue as well. Yeah, the statue here. Although it just hasn't loaded in for some reason. This is a very Iliad eccentric area altogether. Whoopsies. Suddenly feel like I'm landscaping under pressure now. Such intense music for landscaping. Yeah, have you noticed the speed at which I'm landscaping is kind of gone quicker now? Maybe I should do that more often. Screw that little peninsula. It's holding us back. Don't need that peninsula anyway. Now we've got another little pathway leading up here. Dibna, you just put my entire life into 2 sentences. Furious clicking and adjusting, annoyed sighing and mutterings. By the way, have I been annoyingly sighing and muttering? Because I haven't noticed. I probably have. Bring back 1440p? I can't. I used to have a 1440p monitor, which is why the first time I tried to stream there, it was in 1440p. But it's back at 1080 now, so it'd be no point in me streaming at 1440. Do you plan to add children? That's actually Um, I'd like us to add kids into the game because kind of gives a little bit more, I don't know, depth to the world. Project began in about 2012, but honestly, proper production didn't begin until about 2016, 2017. Adoring Fawn as a kid would work. maybe adding him as kind of like a teenager. I always suspected the Adoring Fawn was like a teenager because just the way he acted. Which I suppose would make the people who tortured him so much feel a little bit worse. Will Skyblivion be compatible with other mods? Alright. The types of mods Skyblivion will be compatible for, as in mods that you won't need to... Jesus Christ, did I just see someone? I hope you add the unique landscapes into the game. What the fuck am I doing, man? What do you think I'm doing? Anyway, the types of mods that would work without really needing to get patched would be the mods, you know, that change the AI fighting. The way, like, AI changing mods, they would work right out the gate. Since we're not really changing it, but like HUD mods mightn't necessarily work. Simply because we're changing the HUD. Oh my god. is taking so long to do. I'll just do it this way instead. There we go. How do you implement the new assets that haven't been created yet? Do you just replace the trees, or are the new objects automatic replacements? Sometimes it's like that. For the trees, it wasn't like that. I had to replace them one by one. But for things, you know, for things like the ruins, I believe it'll be that way. They're made. So, for instance, for example, this Iliad archway here. That'll be remade by the 3D artist to the exact same like proportions as the original, just, you know, our own work, and then it'll be replaced. Just it'll overwrite the file essentially, and since it's the exact same size and proportions and everything, it won't you know, interfere with our landscapes. It'll just look better. Those. Alright, do you guys want me to... I'm gonna finish up. Do you want me just to jump in game? Show you around Blackwood? Alright. Just gotta switch over to the full ESM. Alright. Mod organizer. The stairs near the water definitely need some fixing. Well, I've already closed it down, so I have no idea where you're talking about. I'll find it eventually. Everything needs fixing. Alright, Skyblivion preset. I just applied to join you guys as an animator. Why, we would fucking love you to have you. We don't have enough animators. Nor do we have enough coders, or 3D artists, or 2D artists. Before the year's over, not this year, no. I can say with certainty, not a 2019 release. Whoops. Oh wait, sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna see if I have my my controller with me, because that usually makes camera movement a bit more smoother. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I forgot my controller. Alright, doesn't matter. One second. Let's see if I can get the right coordinates. Coordinates 30 minus 40. Okay. Let's try this. TS4 Tamriel 30 minus 40. Yeah, that worked. I have an extremely important question. How is Rebel Zeus pronounced? No idea, man. Rebel Zeus? Rebel Zeiss? I don't know. Who the fuck knows what that crazy Dutch fuck is thinking? When is the release? God damn it, I take that little message down for 1 second and I already get a billion of those questions. People are killing me. Ah! Hello? Alright. Oh look, surprise, surprise, it's raining in Blackwood. Yeah. Alright, what? Can't wait, because enemies are nearby. Alright. So whereabouts are we? I actually do start to get lost in my own. Was the sun breaking through a little bit? I do tend to get lost in my own marshes for some reason. I should know it by now. Whoa! How did that get there?